How can we honestly separate our suffering for the world and be joyful at the same time?
You know, the answer to this is actually simple. The living of it is not. There is nothing on this earth or beyond this earth. There's nothing, there's no feeling, there's no emotion, there's no experience that is not solely, completely divine energy. In that divine energy, in the manifestation of God, of super consciousness, in all of its various forms, material forms, thought waves, feelings, desires. The divine is what is coming through. So whether we are suffering ourselves or watching other people suffer, as we are right now, in such mass quantities and qualities that it has our complete attention. But most of us, many of us, watch people suffer often, all the time, in some ways, all the time. People are suffering in some way or another. In that same moment, do we feel that God as love has gone anywhere? Of course not. God is everything. It is very hard for the human mind that's very linear, black and white, up or down, right and wrong, suffering, joy. It likes to separate it, but it's not separate. It's all God. When we think of Jesus on the cross, which is just such a vivid and clear example, though there are many, we can see when we think of what it means to be crucified. I mean, let yourself think about it for a moment. Literally, a human being is hung on a cross with nails in the heat, nothing to drink. That's suffering. And yet, such pure, unconditional, pure, divine love flowing at the same moment that he was saying to people, I thirst. Now, of course, he wasn't simply saying, I'm thirsty. He didn't say that, even if he did. And of course, it was taken as, I'm thirsty. Of course, they decided to give him a little vinegar, but even as the body would have to be physically thirsty, there was Jesus the Christ saying, I thirst for that divine connection. All in the same moment. We know how many saints who experience that crucifixion, who literally bleed, and who look like they're in pain. We know they're in pain, excruciating pain. The same moment, having the most having moments of pure ecstasy, ecstatic with the divine. Yes, people are suffering. They're suffering in incredible ways. And joy hasn't gone anywhere. You know, Swamiji tells that story after he was expelled from SRF, which was so painful for him. He could not imagine a life without his spiritual community. He says that. What was he to do? That was all he knew, all he wanted, all he was devoted to was Master, and Master had come and manifested self-realization fellowship, and now Swamiji was told, we are going to act as if we've never known you. You are not welcome here as of this moment. He suffered, and he spent some period of time, I don't know what, feeling, I don't know how long right now, feeling that pain. But at some moment, he was invited out to a gathering, and he went and he started singing some of the music. I would say it was his music. He would say music that came to him. But he wasn't aware of feeling joy. It was one of his first times out. But then somebody came to him and said, I love your music. When I was listening to you, all I was feeling was your joy. And Swamiji said to himself, my joy? And then he realized, yes, that joy hadn't left him. It can't. Our awareness of it might leave. But that joy is there. And it is ours. It is who we are. To deny it is to deny the divine within. So it's not just how can we, but that we must, as devotees, as yogis, we must be willing to recognize, experience, live in that joy in the same moment that we feel other people suffering. Our willingness to do that is the antidote to the suffering in all of the world. If we allow ourselves to remember it, to own it, to move the Sanskrit word, smriti, it's so much more than memory because it's the knowing of it, like a ripple effect. It will go out into the world and it will heal this world, which is what is trying to happen through all of this darkness, through this pandemic, by very definition, worldwide suffering. It is trying, the light is trying to lift us up back into its presence out of all of the darkness that has been existing in the universe. So we have to be willing to recognize that joy. We have to meditate as deeply as we ever have till we are that joy. We have to be willing to laugh, to experience, to have moments that are humorful, which will take us back to that joy. From the outside in, joy. Of course, Swamiji said, I was experiencing sadness and pain, but that joy never went anywhere. It is ours, and as I said, and I'll repeat it, it's the antidote to all of the darkness. It's our true responsibility to own it.